Hey everybody, welcome to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Mike Catalana along with Dan Fates. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm not going to apologize for the shades. I mean, come on, we're standing on the beach in South Florida. It's sunny, it's bright.
And fall has arrived in Western New York.
I like the weather back at home. It's a little hot here.
It is hot, it is muggy, it is humid. There are storm clouds all around us, just not over top of us.
Yeah. That's the case for tomorrow, too, where it's going to be warm and muggy for the Bills players and the Dolphins players in the game. Let's start with the news, the big news. Oh, Micah Hyde, done for the year. You know, we're at the game on Monday. You're down there seeing it. You know, it's funny. The Dane Jackson injury happens. The ambulance comes out concerned. And they're still concerned about Dane.
Sure.
But it's Micah Hyde, injured a little bit later, walks off the field and eventually carted off and done for the year with that neck injury.
Yeah, his agent announcing it. Micah's confirmed it. Everybody's kind of now been on it. Just the fact of he's done for the year. The only bright spot is they expect him to be fully healed for next season. But as for this season, again, Mike, you talk about that play. It's a routine play. I feel like that Micah Hyde has done hundreds of times in his NFL career. This one, for whatever reason, Mike, we're assuming that it'd be a surgery that would keep him out for the year.
Yeah, and let's look at what this guy means to this team. The leader. I would say he's been the most prominent leader maybe on the entire team over the 5 years. If you look at that, what he's done. Leader of the defense, sort of the conscience of the team.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to miss him in a lot of ways, I think.
We spent all this time this offseason talking about the addition of Von Miller and all of these things, but I kept reiterating the point that this is a defense that is built back to front and not front to back like nearly every other defense in the NFL is. No other defense in the NFL had two all-pro safeties, and the Bills used them so much to help young rookie corners, to help their defensive line so that they could cover better, so that they could get sacks. And to now lose him, to have Poyer banged up, these were two guys that were banged up, Mike, in training camp. It just really sucks.
Yeah, it does. It's bad for the Bills long term. Look, you're talking about losing. You know, last year at the end of the year, they lost Trey White. Yep. They adjusted. Again, it can hurt you, and it did hurt the Bills. If you look by the end of the year, it would have been nice to have Trey White out there when you're playing Kansas City. Certainly nice to have Micah Hyde on the field. So let's go to where they are starting for tomorrow and where they're going to be, it looks like, for the rest of the year. 5 players to watch. And let's start with a guy who played his college football here, University of Miami. Jaquan Johnson's going to get his opportunity.
We have heard rave reviews for the last 2 years about how much Jaquan Johnson, how great he has been. Look, this was a guy, on the plus side, I talked about how Hyde and Poyer were both injured at training camp. This guy got a ton of reps. Yeah. He's not new to this defense, but complimenting a player for how they played in practice is a lot different than them taking live reps in a game.
Yeah, and look, he's now out there as the guy. He's not filling in, and it's a lot of snaps, and there's a lot of things. You make adjustments. They've already made adjustments to not having Trey White and not having the veteran corners out there. I mean, this team played a lot of man last year, and they are almost exclusively a zone defensive team because of that. But they also had Poyer and Hyde to rely on there. So we'll see about Poyer tomorrow in the game. But without Hyde there, Jaquan Johnson, and it's not just him, because I think Damar Hamlin's going to get a lot of snaps too.
I think he'll also get some snaps in. Again, another guy that has been on this team for the last 2 years has, again, players can't say enough. Even Hyde and Poyer have always said about how great professional they are and how smart they are. We just don't see them. Well, we're now going to see them, and we hope it's good seeing them, not the other.
And look at what they're out there against now. You got the 2 rookie corners starting the game, and you're talking about a team that has that elite speed to get by you defensively. The Bills like to keep everything in front of them as best they can. That has been drilled into the head of Jaquan Johnson and Damar Hamlin when they're out there. You don't let anybody get behind you. It's one thing, though, going against the Titans receivers or even the Rams. It's another thing with these guys.
Do you know what Hill and Waddle call themselves?
No.
The Blur Brothers.
I mean, it's lame, but it's true.
It's true. Yeah. And so one of my guys to watch, I know you had someone, we were just talking about in the drive over here. This has to be a game where Von Miller just kind of goes, I'm Von Miller, I got you guys. Yeah. Like I'm going to wreak havoc on this game along with, with no Ed Oliver, no Jordan Phillips. Von just has to be that game changer and he can. we have seen him do it in big games, but I just think with the struggles that the Bills could have in the secondary, that front six you talked about, Mike, really needs to shine.
All right, we'll get back to the line again in a second. Now I want to go to the two rookie corners. I was trying to come up with a name for them, putting them together. I want to say Bedlam.
Yes.
But it's Bendlam.
Bendlam.
Okay? So it's Elam
Bendlam.
and
Bendlam.
Benford. I want to say Bedlam. I'm just going to say Bedlam. These guys have played really well. Kyer Elam, Florida guy, played better last week.
Yep.
He's a starter this week. We put them together as one guy all the time because they are together. Hey, look, the sun's down a little bit. You can go out with the shades.
Is that storm going to happen now?
No, it'll be back out in a second. Look, again, it's a different breed of cat they're going against. I mean, we've talked about when the Rams have Cooper Kupp, and he's a phenomenal, maybe the best wide receiver. But we're not talking about the kind of speed they're going to see tomorrow. They've got to be ready for that. And no Dane Jackson out there to help them. It's those guys.
Yeah, and we always forget about talking about Taryn Johnson, just how good he is in the slot. But, again, Waddle's a big guy. My concern is with just, obviously, they've never seen it. And Elam is, Sean McDermott kind of talks about it, the fact that you kind of unfairly, you draft Kyer Elam, Mike, and you said he's going to have to start.
Right.
Like you don't draft a corner in the first round and ease him into it. He's kind of was drafted for this game, for these games.
Yeah.
Until Trey White would get back. So, like, I got no problem believing in Christian Benford. He is a confident guy. Nothing scares him. He's just never seen anything like this.
Yeah, I will say something about this team that they never have reached out, at least to this point, to the veteran corner. And these guys know secondary play.
Yep.
So while we have been impressed by what both Benford and Elam have done, the coaches have been impressed because it would have been pretty easy to go out there and pluck some vet, this year's version of Josh Norman out there and say, hey, we got a veteran guy. Now, they may do that eventually. We don't know how long it's going to be for Dane Jackson, but they may do that. All right, let's get back to the D-line. I want to go back to a U guy, too, because Jaquan Johnson's a U guy, and so is Greg Rousseau. And you mentioned that Von Miller could be that guy. How about Greg Rousseau having a big game against the Dolphins?
And how about Von Miller saying that Greg Rousseau has all of the ability to be the best pass rusher in the NFL this week? Look, Von is very charismatic. I was joked around with Jenna. We were leaving practice on Thursday. Von loves everything. Von loves Tua. Von loves Josh Allen. Von loves the Rams. Right. He loves every single person there.
Loves the Broncos.
He loves the Bills. He loves the cafeteria workers. He loves the janitors. He loves everything. He also goes, love Miami too. And I'm sitting there like, I got to find something that he doesn't love. But he's another guy that I don't think he has seen a lot of pass rushers, and I don't think he's just blowing hot air out to gas up Greg Rousseau. He talks about feeding him gunpowder and gasoline. Like, this is what he wants, and this is the game that you get him for.
Yeah, and he loves, come on, this is where he played. This is where he played a lot, and then comes to the Bills. So, again, the difference between having those safeties, having the veteran corners, is get to Tua, at least get Tua off his spots. He's not Josh Allen, but he's talented. And if he can stay in rhythm, he can make plays against you. So when I look at that, I say Rousseau, and you already mentioned Von Miller, pressure on the quarterback. Now let's go to the offensive side and look at a couple of guys that we're going to talk about. Hey, how about restaurateur himself, Isaiah Mckenzie? Has not been a huge part of the offense so far this year. We don't know about Gabe Davis. You didn't feel good about Gabe, seeing him at practice. Now, we don't know if he's going to be on the field tomorrow, but I want to see a little more Isaiah Mckenzie out there offensively.
Like I said, and like we were talking about it on the trip down here, if you're Miami, how do you not double and triple team Stefon Diggs? Like, you just have to have somebody else has to step up. Last week, we said with Gabe Davis out, who's going to step up alongside Stefon Diggs?
Right.
It was Stefon Diggs. He stepped up alongside of himself to just be superhero against the Titans. It's going to have to come from somebody else, whether it was a Jamison Crowder third down conversion or a Jake Kumaro third down catch. McKenzie's a guy that, especially in this game where we're talking about all the speed on the Dolphins, can show that he's got speed here for the Bills.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. And then I'm going to go to Stefon Diggs. And it's pretty funny to say a guy to watch. We're always watching Diggs. But seriously, not sure what the Titans were doing.
Yeah.
But if you're Miami, and even if Davis is playing and he's not healthy, and you bring extra people, you do everything you can to say, one of these other guys is going to have to beat us. Last week, it was comical what he did against the Titans. I don't know what they thought their scheme was. Guess what? It didn't work. But this week, if you're Miami, you're just saying, we cannot let this guy kill us in the game. Diggs has the ability, Allen has the confidence in him that it might not matter.
And this could be one of those games. For the longest time, when we wanted Josh Allen to step up and be that quarterback, that guy, the guy, we always talked about how the Bills always had this great defense, but the offense just couldn't. It wasn't complimentary football like Sean McDermott always talks about. Tyrod Taylor, you just didn't have faith could go and win a shootout. This may be a shootout.
Yeah.
I'm expecting a high-scoring game. This could be a game where Josh Allen says, I got to put up 40. And pick up the defense. Be aggressive. Stefon Diggs, they saw this Miami team, come back from 21 points down in the fourth quarter. He said that there is a philosophy for this offense under Sean McDermott that we keep scoring until Sean tells us not to. Last week, it was in the third quarter. But I don't think it's going to be this time. I think they have to go all the way to the end.
And speaking of Sean McDermott, I think the guy's coaching a little ticked off, I'll say it that way. A little angry. A little like, I'm coming for your lunch money this year. I think he's going to be super aggressive tomorrow. He's already been aggressive, and they've blown two teams out. I think he's going to play that. I think he's going to put his faith in Josh Allen and the offense because he knows, even though he's got talent on the defense, they are shorthanded.
Well, and how about this as a coach? Not that you like this. I remember Leslie Frazier being like, well, I'd rather have Trey White out there. But this is a game where they can really have an impact. Like we talked about how coaching matters. That's why the Dolphins are 2-0, because coaching matters in the NFL. Without your star players, without big names on that defense, Sean McDermott can have his hands all over this game along with Leslie Frazier on the defense.
It's a very interesting game. The Bills are shorthanded. The Dolphins, not a desperate team on the season, desperate to beat the Bills. Heck, they're desperate to compete with the Bills because they have not done that. Tua hasn't beaten them. Dan already mentioned how Allen has dominated Miami in his career. The Bills will be looking to do that again. Again, complete coverage from us here in South Florida. We'll have our post-game report right afterward. Also, check out our audio podcast available on Monday morning right away. When you're driving to work, you'll get a chance to listen to that too. So that's going to do it for us for now. For Dan Fates, I'm Mike Catalana. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you the next time on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel.